January 8th of 1815. It was actually a senseless battle because right before Christmas is when they signed the treaty to end the war. But they had to do the fact that they didn't have FedEx or anything like that, or fax machines. Message was quite slow. This established restaurants dating back to 1856. Enough garlic in our food. Yeah. Oh, look at the peppers too. A fresh batch of peppers. Whoa. Yes, indeed. And over here to my left, the fabulous flea market. Yeah, great place to go. This is where all the people of Louisiana bring their junk to sell to you so they don't have to carry it home. Yeah. Come on down though, folks. This is a great place to come. Excellent, excellent place. They'll come down here and barter with you in the afternoons. You come down here between the hours of 4 or 5 noon, the old U.S. Mint. Dates back to 1835. Started coining currency from 1838 to 1910. Now, in this time period, the only interruption it had was during the Civil War, where it coined Confederate currency. Today, it now houses the Mardi Gras Olympics. This is the greatest place to come to right here. They've got some fine, fine exhibits in there. And I think you thoroughly enjoy it. They've got floats in there, 17 with the Haiti team. And also, this is the site of Old Fort St. Charles. And it's also another place where Andrew Jackson would train his troops, Rue Promenade, Promenade Publique. And this general area at this time was where the young Creole ladies would parade up and down the neutral ground here. And when they did this, they were trying to catch the Gauche House itself is of Creole architecture with German wrought iron balconies. Or cast iron balconies, I'm sorry. German cast iron balconies. And being fully intact, it had the carriage house across the street, the Garçonniere, built somewhere around the early 1800s after the signing of the Louisiana Purchase. And it was built as a Italian consulate and embassy to the United States from Italy until around 5 cents per acre at that time. Now the street we're fixing to cross over right now is Rampart Street. This is the home of the Rampart Street Blues. This is where Louis Armstrong was born, about 6 blocks down in an orphanage. He was raised there. About the age of 7, he picked up his first horn. And his early teens, he started to pick up the style of music known to us today as jazz. Then he joined up with a couple other musicians in his late teens. Into his early 20s, they formed a little trio that played until about the late 30s and early 40s. They were known as Dizzy Gillespie and Jelly Roll Martin. All three of these guys together. The Red Light District to Los Angeles, California. The rest of the city was shaped in the crescent of the river, so all the streets went off in different directions. Well, we had these leftover pieces of property called pocket parks. These pocket parks right here, we just put a bus stop at, former home of our French Impressionist painter, Edgar Degas. Edgar Degas. This artwork to the left right here, I have no idea what you call that. Just stack stuff up there and that's it. I don't know what it does. What you call it. There it is. Now, we told you about Bernard Lopez from the city of Baltimore. Came to the city of New Orleans to establish a plantation down here. Wanted to become... This home right here was built, as I said, 1903 for a cost of $10,000. It was built as a single-family dwelling. It is the longest hall in the city of New Orleans. It covers one full city block, but it is 86 feet long by 12 feet wide. $13,000. More for the gazebo than they did the entire house. Also, these next 4 houses that you see in a row right here, all of these were built at the same time as the Queen Anne, but each one of them has been recently restored within the last 5 years back to their original colors and shades as they were at the turn of the century. And off in the background, you'll see the new metal building being put up in the background. That is our new grandstand for one of the oldest racetracks in the Creole Cottage. The next one coming up to my left, the green shuttered one here. This is a shotgun house. Next one is Shotgun Camelback. Shotgun house got its name because you could open up the front door, open up the back door, shoot the chicken on the back porch, and never hit the walls. Shotgun house. Checks for any openings on the front side of your house. So therefore, you built your second floor on the back side. They called it a camelback because it was a home on the back side. You were never taxed for that opening. Also, with staircases and closets, you were taxed for any openings on the inside of the house or any stairwells. By putting them in there, you were not taxed for any closet space. Now, we're going to make a stop here. This is St. Louis Cemetery number 3. Now, we're going to make a stop here. This is St. Louis Cemetery number 3. First off in front of us, Pierre Gustave Touton Beauregard. Very famous engineer from the city of New Orleans that built our custom house in around 1848. I'll show you that on the back side of the door. But Pierre was the first Confederate general to fire the shots upon Fort Sumter to start the Civil War. He also created the first lottery in the city of New Orleans and for the state of Louisiana to help. To our left, our museum on wheels. Van goes. Oh, an original? I knew you. And in doing so, we gave him a jazz funeral when he left. He was one of our greatest exhibits. But we've had Picasso. Monet was here back in June and July. We've had the Jane art exhibit from India and the art of Ghana. The African exhibit just left here a few months ago. Our heart. This is where we have our celebration of Christmas in the Oaks. Peak time. Call up Gray Line. We will come pick you up. And Sergeant Courtney can come on and teach them the nursery rhyme while they're playing. Then coming up to our right is our row of Christmas trees. And then behind that, the green and white building dates back to 1906. And that is the Flying Horses of New Orleans. Ride boats and paddle wheels. We've got our Cajun Village over here to the right for Christmas. That is right there where you can tell you the 12 days of Christmas in Cajun and the night before Christmas. The only difference we have in that is that we change over all the names of the reindeer. We don't have 8 tiny reindeer pulling a sleigh in Santa Claus. We have 8 tiny alligators pulling a Peter over Papa Noel. Yes, indeed. We just change their names instead of on Cupid, on Donner, on Blitzen and all that. We change the names around onto on Gaston, on Andre, on Pierre, and Gusto. And over here we've got our live oak trees. This is an evergreen tree. We have our Spanish moss growing from the tree. I'll tell you more about that later. Now in the background you see these 2 trees that are hanging on the ground. These are creeping oaks. Both of these trees date back to Philip Sousa played some of his first early music as a young man. And then our concession area, the casino. We're going to stop in here and take... And then our concession area, the casino. We'll stop in here and take... Time. The other one was lost around 1960. Quadroon woman or something in that line. The other one was lost around. Maybe they still argue over women today, I guess, but there you go. And they started to pull out their swords, and in their dueling they would fight each other until one would prick the other one. They would call duel off. The first Indian tribes that were down here were the Chapatulas, the Homas, and the Chickasaw and Choctaw Indians. But the first one of our football stadiums on Telling Mountain and soccer fields that we use throughout the year. Kenny Fair. Bought that for a price of $10,000. That's right. All I can remember is her husband saying, "Why couldn't you just bought a postcard?" No, there she went. Bought that souvenir. That they live on Park Island, so they no, there she went. So it was quite the thing at that time period because they were selling a lot of the souvenirs. A lot of the Royal Neutral Ground that was actually established on Canal Street. You had the French Quarter on one side, you had the American Quarter on the other. This way they could get together and Tang, that's right. Tang was also created right here at the United States Department of Agriculture for the state of Louisiana. United States Department of Agriculture for the state of Louisiana. See what they do here is they do some farming out here on the side, and what they do is they try to establish different work here on the side. Am I right? The Hellenic, Greek Hellenic Cultural Center and the Greek Orthodox Church of Milwaukee. Very beautiful church. We were back here during the month of May. If in 1934 we were to cross this road right here and go over that direction, we'd be in. And all these canals are hooked up to pumping stations. We passed over one with canal there just a minute ago. That is the 17th Street Canal. That separates Orleans from Jefferson Parish. But we have these canals all hooked up to these pumping stations. It was an idea that was adapted from Amsterdam, Holland. And this is what we use to keep the city right here in front of us. Could empty out if we had a 30-foot tidal surge from this lake into the city of New Orleans. We would lose hundreds of thousands of people's lives due to the fact they would never be able to evacuate from the bowl in time. But right here to my right, this is the fourth largest captive lake in the continental United States today. This is Lake Pontchartrain, named after the Duke de Pontchartrain, who was the minister of Irish and German immigrants that first came over here. Was the basic canal. And they hired on these 13,000 immigrants to dig this canal out 6 miles long, 60 feet wide, about 6 feet deep. Well, also during this time, underground in the city, right there. 24 feet above sea level. Century 21 for the last 8 months there. This here sits on about 22, 23 acres of land. Am I right? Your second largest cemetery in the city. This sits on about 20 acres of land. And this is also used to be a racetrack. This was the New Orleans Jockey Club. He just very high in price. They wanted to become part of it. They asked Mr. Howard, can we be buried in your cemetery? He says, nah, I don't want your kind in my cemetery. Be buried elsewhere. He didn't get mad. He just got even. That's all he did. Sent them on their merry way. That is the rest of the story. She's in the South today. It's right here. It was founded by Mother Catherine, Order of the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament, the Xavier University of Louisiana. Turns out that most graduates in the pharmaceutical people were pulling everything out. And all these new palm trees through here, well, they were put up during the spring of 1987 before the Pope came. They all froze that year. So we put all these up and nicknamed them the Papal Bombs. Yes. And that's when the Pope blessed the dome at that time period. He had over 100 blessed the dome at that time period. He had over 100. Here we go. And we also have some other remarkable feats. Yeah, the real kicker is South Claiborne runs east and west. What we call it South Claiborne. Nah, just to throw everybody off. It is South Claiborne crossings into the city. We just tell them either lakefront, riverfront, uptown, downtown. That's the only way you can do it. And you still lose. So it's kind of crazy. But that's what we do lose. Also, right now, we're driving next to one of the oldest existing continually running streetcar lines in the United States today. In around the turn of the century, and it still is that way today. It's almost to the point of now, what, 160-something years old. Fabulous creation from the city of New Orleans. Over there to my right is the streetcar barn in the 1950s. Still the original Old Town Carrollton. Over here to my left, perfect example of a West Indies style architecture. Perfect example of raised or plantation home. Beautiful design. It's only about 30 years old. I showed you earlier the shotgun homes on Esplanade Avenue. Them couple of shotgun homes I showed you range anywhere from around 65. These shotgun homes were bought here 5 years ago for $110,000 a piece. Today they're valued over $125,000 each just because they're sitting on Carrollton Avenue. Now I'm seriously thinking about bringing my mobile home down here just to see what I can get for it. Yeah. Over here to my right, they have one down in the French Quarter too, around Jackson Square. Now we're on St. Charles Avenue. The Avenue of Churches, folks. Now we're on St. Charles Avenue. Beautiful, beautiful street. This is one of the more prestigious streets in the city of New Orleans. For me, if I were to move down this thing, they would not call me Don anymore. It'd be Mr. Schaefer after that. If I were to move down this thing, very, very prestigious street. All the architecture here has becomes early American. It's quite different in styles of architecture. You'll see the double shotgun homes. Right here to my right, the embracing staircase. You'll see the double shotgun. This is where the young man would walk up one side, the lady would walk up the other, so you would not see her ankles. Ooh, wouldn't that be scary? Yeah, if they didn't know what was going to happen 200 years later, they could have saved all that country. Embracing staircases. That's why I never could figure out why they called them that. If you had to walk up separately, why is it embracing staircase? I guess you kiss and hug at the top. Ursuline nuns here at St. Mary's Dominican College for Girls. They fell in some bad times about 8 years ago. The Loyola University bought it out and converted it to their law school. Mailing address. So he built a little dollhouse. It actually has running water and electricity. And it does have its own mailing address. Over here to the front of us over here is the St. Charles Avenue Baptist Church, the oldest Baptist church on to my left down here. This is Fraternity Row and Sorority Row. You also find Sophie Newcomb All-Girls College down here, which is now part of Tulane University. Over here, Audubon Place. This is the Millionaire's Row. 26 of the richest homes in the city of New Orleans, ranging from $5 to $11 million in price. You cannot even get in there to suck in a breath of fresh air without an invitation. They will not allow you in there for sure. To my right, Audubon Park. 500 acres, 18-hole golf in the United States today. And this is also where Etienne de Boré first granulated sugar on a commercial basis in 1794. Over to my left, another wealthy bachelor left us for the education, the money. Tulane University. Paul Tulane was the innovator. And is well known for his School of Law and Engineering. Holy Name of Jesus Catholic Church separates Tulane from Loyola, University of the South. Well known for its School of Music, Communications, and Law. This is their new music school over here to the left. Over here to the right, the Gentlemen's Club only for the city of New Orleans, Sinai. This is the only touching and smelling garden for the blind in the city of New Orleans today. And it's very beautiful. If you get a chance to come back here during the springtime to see all of our flowers in that here, come on in. They have one of the most magnificent rose gardens you've ever seen. Temple Sinai. Then coming up on my left here in a minute, we're going to see the second largest house on St. Charles Avenue. This house right here is over 19,500 square feet. And it was built 15 or 17 years ago at a cost of $7 million. Here it is to my left, the light-colored stone with the green roof. Here it is to my left, the light-colored stone with the green roof. Then coming up on my right, my left, perfect example of a French chalet style architecture with the bows hanging on the second balcony. Then next to it, the white one right here is known as the wedding cake house. That one was just recently purchased at a price of $2.5 million and renovated last year at a cost of $1 million. To my right, perfect example of a rating at the first floor was the living space at the top of the staircase. And time period. That means when the Mississippi River would flood, the water would pass underneath the house. There was nothing of value down below, so they didn't lose anything. But it did were at the turn of the century. Over here to my left, the white building. That's right. It is a full replica of Tara and Gone with the Wind. That's right. It is the only one of its kind throughout the South today. The other ones that you see throughout the city or throughout the South today are strictly facades on the other building. This is a full replica. The husband built it for his wife in 1947 as a wedding gift, or an anniversary gift, I should say. Isn't that nice? Yeah. My wife asked me to do the same thing for her. I took a picture of it, blew it up, put it on the front of our mobile home. I said, there you go, darling, Tara and the South. Enjoy it. Every time I make mention about us, I cannot make believe it. There it is. To my right over here, the Jewish community has to play in the snow so they can see what it's like to enjoy the white stuff. And it was also the home of the silent screen star, Marguerite Clark. And it was also the Allianz Cross for our women only. Yes, indeed. I did some research and found out they don't even have a mailbox. Yes, indeed. But they did reassure me. They said, Don, we do have a few studs in the wall. I said, I can buy this. All right. I said, I can accept this and tell the folks about that. Yes, indeed. But over here to my left, coming up in a minute, will be the largest home on St. Charles Avenue. 24,000 square feet, 23 rooms. One of them is a Christmas room. They only open it one time during the year. Guess when? Over here to my left, the Brown Mansion. Guess when? This is built by Mr. Brown for his daughter as a wedding present at the turn of the century for $11 million. Yes, indeed. It is made of brownstone and Italian-made marble. Yes, indeed. Coming up on my left is also one of the most prominent all-girls schools in the city of New Orleans, K through 12. Right here on my left, Sacred Heart Academy for Girls. So prominent a school that it has a 6 to 7 year waiting list to get in there. They even told me at one time that there are some women down here at Touro Infirmary getting an ultrasound to find out if the female child is not. If it is, they're down here the next day to enroll it in school before it's even born. I believe it. I believe it. That's how hard it is to get into that school. I believe it. That one is. I believe that's how hard it is to get into that school. You're right. 8 to 10 years old. About that general area. I think it's about 10 years old. You're right. But it had to be built in the style of the St. Charles Avenue building code. Over here to my right, white one there in the middle, that's where they filmed Pretty Baby with Brooke Shields. Yes, and some other movies you might be familiar with. Blaze with Paul Newman. Tightrope with Clint Eastwood, Richard Gere and Kit Basinger and No Mercy, and some scenes shot from The Big Easy with Dennis Quaid and Ellen Barkin. The money was left over for Judo Turo to Mansion. That was the German embassy and consulate before World War II. To my left, the oldest Episcopal church on the avenue. This is Christ Church Episcopal, dates back to England for one reason. When the Mississippi River would pass underneath these homes, or by these homes, and cause them to flood it in this area, it left all that rich Mississippi River soil here. Everything grew. On their patios, in their yards, trees, bushes, grass, shrubs, whatever. They grew fantastically, beautifully green. Therefore, it was nicknamed by the Americans the Garden District area. The House of Pearl. Check out her dresses up there in the front. Big Rob, wedding dresses in there. And she does a fabulous job. Mardi Gras gowns for the queens usually run anywhere from about 25 is the commercial section of St. Charles Avenue. The reason it's the commercial section is due to one fact. 1862, the Farragut Navy sailed up the Mississippi River, Porter's Navy sailed down the river. Both of them converged on the still in doing so. Naturally, we thought the Union forces would come in, just occupy the area for maybe a weekend or so and leave us alone. But no, they stayed here for over 17 years. 17 years we had Yankees running to this day. This is the only but they fell in disarray and ill repair. And in doing so, they just tore it on the rest of and created the commercial section of St. Charles Avenue. To my left over here used to be the old Shriners Temple. Today is now the Way, the Jesus Christ Christian Church. It is very beautiful in architecture on the inside. Then coming up on my left, he's sitting there looking out there, making sure the Yankees. Just to be sure he's watching for me. Yeah. Over to my left over here, the Confederate Museum. This is where you'll find a lot of great artifacts from the state of Louisiana and the history of the Civil War in this state during that time period. Uniform of General Beauregard, his saber, and all that he wore at Fort Sumter at the start of the Civil War. Fabulous place to come see. Great museum. There's that YMCA at Lee Circle. Over to my right, the Contemporary. Over to my left, right over here, this is the old Cotton Exchange warehouse. Over to my left, now it's converted over to townhouses and apartments also. During the Witness Church, this is the American rendition of St. Louis Cathedral. The French, Americans were not going to be outdone by the Creoles. So therefore, they came to the French did and put it in our American over here. Now it is our playground for the homeless. Yes, indeed. Playground for the homeless. There you go, laying all over out there. We think it's maybe a couple lawyers that lost some cases over here at the federal building. Just to Bar in Baton Rouge is entitled to a piece of this dowry. Last year, over 100 women were married over in Baton Rouge Parish. They were all entitled to around, and it was named that way because at that time these boys didn't have work. So the restaurateurs, at the end of the day, they would fill it up full of 8 different types, and they would give it to the boys, and when asked, they said, what is this for? They said, this is for the poor boys of New Orleans. They're used as the customs house to tariff, or put tariff and taxes on cargo coming in and out of the city of New Orleans in the port. It was also used on federal headquarters under the control of a gentleman by the name of General Spoons Butler, or the Beast Butler. His sole nickname at that time period, and he was in charge of these federal troops here for the steal their silverware, bring it on back, melt it down, and use it for silver boats for his troops. Spoons Butler. He was given the name Beast Butler for the simple reason of one way. He was so cruel to the Confederate soldiers in that time period. This is the purpose, or the reason. Home stretch back to the riverboat. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Right here, this is. We also have other tours in the city of New Orleans that we offer you. We have the walking tour of the Garden District and the French Quarter tours. They're walking. We have our Swamp and Bayou tour. We also have the paddle wheel, which actually you're going to do. Some of you are going to do today. And then we also have the trolley tour. And we also have